the reason why I picked BYOD as a topic of discussion, in my experience, in about 2010, I did a presentation on BYOD at the Security Summit on BYOD policy implementation. That was in 2010, and I covered the complexities of building a policy, what difficulties it would be trying to implement BYOD in a company, that kind of thing. And it's now 2015, and that landscape hasn't changed. So we still have the same challenges trying to take BYOD into any enterprise organization. You've got the three mobile device operating system vendors. You've got the Google, your Apple, and you've got your Windows environment. Not one of them will actually come out and say that these systems are vulnerable. Not a single one of them will do that. And that's one of the challenges around the BYOD. There are a lot of secrets in this industry when you deal with vendors and these providers, and a lot of them keep information like this to themselves, and that's why I can be a critic, because I've seen when I come across some technologies that make certain claims, I do ask a lot of questions, because I've heard that certain vendors cannot do it yet, or they will do it or it's roadmapped in the nearby future, but not a single one of these vendors will admit that they've got the X amount of vulnerabilities, that they don't vet their applications properly, that they allow certain breaches, that kind of thing. They will, it's all in a pursuit to have a secure system. Yes, sir. The other solutions that are, apart from the technical MDM, as well as being able to separate the profiles on a mobile device, the other control would be to create policies to enforce it, and that's what I haven't seen. I haven't seen any watertight policies that say this is an acceptable use profile for an organization. If you're going to bring your device into the company, this is how you're going to use it. If you're going to, in the event of loss, if you lose the information, who's going to be held responsible, that kind of thing. That's what I would expect of an organization that's going to try and implement BYOD. And I've come across many companies that I've worked with, that I've worked around, where they just blindly allow people into their environment with these devices. One of the projects that I'm busy working on is BYOD in schools, right? And it's a passion of my own, because I've got a daughter that's now just gone into private schooling, and one of the requirements for her on her stationery list was that she needed an Android iPad or an Android tablet, and that's what we had to supply. And I have concerns around that, because I cannot even get my daughter to come home from school with both her school shoes and her socks and her jersey, let alone a tablet of some sort. So I've got some natural concerns, just not around theft, just the mere fact that she's going to leave this lying around. If kids are anything like what I was when I was younger, I would have walked home with 20 iPads a day, because I was just one of those little individuals that was opportunistic and just brought extra things home because I saw them. So that's one of my concerns. But one of the questions that the projects that like I said, this is a project, and we're doing a proof of concept with one of the schools in Pretoria around the use of bringing your own device to a school, and they provide internet access to kids, because according to their statistics, something like 7 projects a week require online connection so that they can do research. I'm not really giving my age away because it wasn't really a long time ago, but I used to go to a library and do research and make photostats, and that's how I used to, and pin it on a project board, and that was my project or my assignment for that subject. Kids are having to go home and, well, my daughter she needs to go online and she has to do little exercises, whether it's tracing letters and that kind of thing. They provide this internet connectivity on these devices, and I've seen these devices, and there is no security whatsoever on any of these devices. And the school cannot prove to me that they're protected from any unsolicited material. My kids, both my kids have little mini iPads, or these Android devices. I call them iPads, I refer to them all as an iPad. But they have these devices, and they sit and browse YouTube videos and then link to the next video, and before you know it, they've clicked on an ad in between, and where my daughter was browsing, looking at little Dora the Explorer videos, she's suddenly clicked on something else, and she's browsing some other content that's not suitable. So, it's a technology age, and these devices are the future, and I'm expecting in the next couple of years, I probably am expecting kids to not be using paper and pens and that kind of thing. I think it's going to go that way. But like I said, as a parent and as a security individual, I'm not convinced that BYOD and these devices are meeting the security requirements that I would expect. So to iterate on this particular project, one of the things that I've embarked on is I've written a security policy, acceptable use policy for schools that will be signed by the pupil that is using the device as in conjunction with the parents, to say that when these kids use these devices on the network, they will not be browsing certain things. There are a couple of, two of the trends in the UK around internet usage in schools on these devices, on smartphones and tablets, referred to explicit material, like sexual orientated material, and then something that I learned for the first time, and this is a trend in the UK, something that they call self-harming, pro-self-harming websites, which is it's a trend within schools where they have DIY instructions on how to etch and inflict harm on yourselves. So instead of having tattoos, you can draw pictures with a compass and etch them into your skin. It's things like that in the UK that they're wanting to block from kids, because that's what's happening in those environments. And so apart from having the right technology for BYOD, you've got to enforce it with some sort of policy. And I'm not a legal person, but generally BYOD's policies are based on some sort of legal procedure or legal acts. So in summary, I still don't, it's been 4 years since I did that presentation on BYOD, and 4 years later I still don't think that we've got it covered. I still see it littered in organizations. It's still a huge concern that no one wants to address. No one wants to say they've got that concern. Like I said, it's a productivity versus a cost issue. It's been justified because we don't have to supply you with laptops anymore because you're bringing your own laptop from home. But how do you monitor that? Productivity, like I said, 70% increase in productivity because people don't switch off. You keep your phone on throughout the night. No one switches the phone off anymore in case you missed that email or you missed that important SMS from that person. Yeah, So in conclusion, like I said, BYOD, I still think we're looking for solutions. From me, a solution architect in this field, I think there's some nice solutions out there for other security concerns. This is still one that I think that we need to keep our eye on. When I see the silver bullet that says that we've got this done, I think I'll rest.